Wow. Sunrise at the Alamo. I'm not sure it was ever actually on my bucket list, but if it was, I've done it now. And the crazy thing is, there's no one here. I don't know why. I thought it was going to be like the Grand Canyon, you know? I thought more people would get up to see the sunrise. But I guess since it's so foggy and misty, there really isn't a sunrise, so I have the place mostly to myself. I believe the original St. Anthony mission was located in a different spot and was begun way back, like the 17 teens. I think they started on this version of the Mission San Antonio in the 1720s. Of course, towards the later 1700s, it was secularized, meaning that Mexico took over from Spain, of course, and then made them all just buildings. They weren't Catholic missions anymore. And of course, in 1836, there was the famous Battle of the Alamo. Basically, you had the Texans up here rebelling against the dictatorship of Mexican General Santa Anna. And they actually won. They actually defeated the Mexican army at the Battle of Bejar, but what they didn't know was Santa Anna, El Presidente himself, was on his way with the full army. And so, in 1836, famously, the Texian defenders, as they were known, along with a lot of other people who just sort of happened to be here, were trapped inside of the Alamo, including Colonel and Congressman Davy Crockett of Tennessee. There was a 13-day siege followed by, on the final day, about an hour-and-a-half long battle. There were only about 100 guys defending the Alamo, and well more than 10 times that number on the Mexican army side. So as you can imagine, the defenders were quickly overwhelmed. The vast majority of them were killed or died fighting, or very shortly thereafter, and a very few, some say 6, some say 16, I'm not sure we'll ever know the true accurate number, but a few, including some early sources say Davy Crockett himself, were surrounded so quickly and overwhelmed so fast they had to surrender. I mean, it took forever to reload, you know, an old-timey rifle. So if you think about it, if 100 guys are rushing at you, you're gonna get captured, no shame. And it seems like most of the witnesses put Davy Crockett dying in the fight, but either way, a few people were surrounded and had to surrender, just a few. And then General Santa Anna ordered them to be killed. The bodies were burned, and I believe some of the ashes are in a nearby church. The Alamo, and remember the Alamo, sort of like remember Pearl Harbor, became the rallying cry for Texas independence. Texas was eventually admitted into the United States. Of course, then the United States went to war with Mexico, partially to defend Texas, and then acquired Arizona, New Mexico, California. And so without the Alamo, do you have a California? Do you have a New Mexico or an Arizona? Do you have the United States coast to coast? Do you have a world power that would have won World War II? Do you have a civil war even? I mean, the whole course of history would be changed without the Alamo. So it's not just a shrine to Texas liberty and to these brave men who, for all we know, some of them may be buried right under our feet. It's also a key part of American history, particularly Southwestern history. And so, of course, the Alamo is a national treasure. Here you go. Here is the cenotaph, I think it's called. The memorial to the defenders, and you can see all the names here. Davy Crockett's name is on this side, but that isn't him. He's actually facing the street, and they've even got him depicted with his coonskin cap in his hand. How about that? Now, the Alamo complex itself actually did extend across the street. I believe some of the buildings were located right under the fronts of these buildings, which I'm pretty sure most of them have been acquired by the Alamo now, and someday might be torn down. It does seem kind of weird that Ripley's Haunted Adventure and Tomb Raider 3D and the Guinness World Records Museum and all that are just right here staring at this memorial. Not that there's anything wrong with it, really. I've been in the Haunted Adventure. It's cool. But realistically, if they can acquire that property and extend the historic Alamo, man, by all means, you know. Then again, maybe I shouldn't say that. I don't live here, and apparently it's quite controversial because these other buildings are also historic in their own way. But anyhow, that's what's going on. Ooh, it's starting to rain. Well, it fits this morning's sort of somber Alamo mood. I'm gonna walk back to the hotel, get some coffee, perk up, and then an old friend is meeting up with us to have some adventures before I push on home. All right, look at this. It's Oscar!
Hey, everybody!
From Oscar's Odyssey, my friend. Oscar's one of those friends where, dude, it's been a long time since I've seen you in person, but it does not feel like it at all.
I know.
How you doing, buddy? You're a frontline worker. You having fun?
Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
A ton of fun. Where your man?
Oscar, when's the last time you were actually inside of the Alamo?
Probably 9 or 10. A long time
So
ago.
it's been a while.
A long time.
Dude, so when's the last time you even looked at it?
Maybe like 2 months ago.
Okay, so you drove by and you're like, there it is.
Yeah, I came
The
by.
Alamo.
The Alamo.
By the way, getting in the Alamo is free, but you can't get in the exhibit hall right now during COVID without purchasing the audio tour. So I went ahead and did that. All right, everybody, we're going inside real quick. I've got to do it, but there are no photos allowed in that chapel. First time I came here, dude, I had a disposable camera.
I tell everybody this story.
Oh man, I thought they were gonna kill me. I thought they were gonna Chuck Norris me. I thought it was over. Luckily though, I survived. We'll see if I can survive again. Take my camera away from me, Oscar. Take it away. Wow, look at this. See, you can take pictures in the courtyards. So Oscar gave me my camera back. Very solemn, very quiet. People are walking around with a lot of respect. Here's a memorial to the women and children of the Alamo. Santa Anna began the attack in the dark. You couldn't see anything. It was freezing cold. I'm sure all the children were crying. I was out here in the dark this morning. I'm trying to picture it, you know, no street lights, pitch black dark, and then kaboom, the cannons start going. You go, oh boy, here it comes. It's all so crazy. It's cool to be here with Oscar, a native Texan, even though he never comes to the Alamo. I've probably been here more recently than him. That's the weird part. Weird. Look at this, Oscar. Davy Crockett. He's wearing a mask, but for some reason his mask isn't made out of coonskin. I feel like it should be. Although look at this. I think that's supposed to be like a little fox, because supposedly he had a fox with a foxtail mask. Some people say.
Really?
Yeah. By the way, I did actually bring coonskin cap to wear. I was gonna wear it this morning, you know, when I was filming the sunrise and all that.
Yeah.
But it was just me and the Alamo Ranger, so I felt like like I wanted to do it in tribute, but then it started to feel disrespectful.
Yeah.
But now you're here, and
It's perfectly fine.
I think
I'll vouch for you.
I think I might do it. Wow, look at this. We have some of the heroes of the Alamo here. Wow, look at that. There's Jim Bowie and his famous knife. I love how he's listed as an entrepreneur. I read some biographies of Jim Bowie. He was not my favorite Alamo character, let's put it that way. Personally, I found this guy much more of an appealing historical character. And there he is. Davy Crockett. Congressman, veteran, hero. And I did it as a tribute. Oscar's from Texas. He said it was okay. I was a little worried all these people were going to get mad. But as soon as I put the hat on, all the little old ladies laughed.
Yeah.
And it's the little old ladies that would get mad, so. Whew.
Okay.
But dude, look I noticed Davy Crockett always had a little face on his hat, whether it's coonskin or fox skin, some people said. He always has a little face. And mine doesn't have a face. But since I bought it from Buc-ee's, I'm thinking maybe I should put Buc-ee's head, like the stuffed animal head maybe right here.
Totally.
Like a Buc-ee skin cap.
Bucky skin.
I feel like people might not like that as much as this, though.
Yeah.
Might not be acceptable. Okay, that's enough Buc-ee's hat. And of course, as I said that a second ago, Oscar's like, I don't think it's enough Buc-ee's hat. So I'm like, do you want to wear it? And what'd you say?
No, I don't want to wear it.
Why not, bro?
Because I mean, I look nothing like Davy Crockett.
You said it was okay to wear it, though.
Yeah,
Why don't you want to wear it?
It's okay for you to wear it, not okay for me to wear it.
Oh, I'm glad I came here in the morning before anyone was here to have my somber reflections, because you can't be somber around Oscar. It's very difficult. All right, so now what we're going to do is head inside of the little museum thing to see Davy Crockett's rifle. And I don't think you can take pictures in there either. Look at this. This is the back of the church It's the back of the Alamo. Nobody ever shows you the back of the Alamo. Dude, how about that? There it is. I showed you guys the backside of the Venus de Milo in Paris. And here's the backside of the Alamo. And look at this. It's the Alamo koi fish. Everybody knows them. If the Alamo Rangers, if the guards had a baseball team, they should totally call it the Alamo koi fish.
Oh, wow.
Why are there so many koi fish? Were there koi fish here back then?
I have no idea. But that's
No
cool.
koi back then. Better though, don't you?
They really make eye contact.
Hi, babies.
They want food.
Hi, babies.
I feel a little bad because that docent here, or that volunteer, she took my question very seriously. She stopped. She's like, no, we didn't have koi fish. This was an irrigation ditch actually at the time. It helped to bring water in here and stuff like that. So we're listening, and then she's explaining about the koi fish. So anyway, now there's someone in this world who genuinely believes I thought there were koi fish at the Battle of the Alamo. Oops. For a split second I was really confused. I thought that was somebody's tent here in the grounds in the back of the Alamo. Turns out it's just a tarp to cover the cannon of a living history group, I believe. And you can see here they are setting up the living history encampment for the day. I don't know what they actually do out here. Probably just talk to the tourists. The really weird thing is there's a bunch of soldiers over here. I don't know if they're soldiers or National Guardsmen, or they're on a field trip, or what they're doing. But just seeing a bunch of soldiers here, knowing there was a battle, kind of a weird feeling. Like there's about 50 of them there, something. 50 of them, 50 tourists. That would be around the same number of people who had to defend the Alamo. I was trying to picture in my head, like, what if suddenly, 1,500 Mexican army soldiers surrounded the place and there was no way out. It's pretty intense. See, it makes me feel like we're gonna get surrounded by Mexican soldiers now, because we got like 50 soldiers here, and then there's like probably 50 tourists, which is about the same number as the Alamo defenders. It's the second Battle of the Alamo. That would suck. Honestly, let's just be honest here. I know it's heroic and brave and that's all good, but I would not want to be in here with those 100 guys. No. I'm not made of that kind of stuff, dude. I would be like, can I just leave? Can I get a little white handkerchief?
When the line was drawn, I said, peace.
Yeah, I know.
You guys need something before I go?
Yeah.
I'm out.
I would have been like, does anyone need it? I'll be the messenger. I'll send a message, Crazy. So I guess in that sense, like they are the heroes. They are the brave heroes. They do deserve our respect, because I wouldn't do it.
Yep,
I would have been like, now I'll go back to Tennessee or whatever, Yep. See ya. See, I shouldn't have brought you here. I should have hung out with you afterwards, because you make me laugh at everything. We get too silly when we're together. Okay, we gotta sober up. It's time for the museum. Time for Davy Crockett's rifle. Finally found the museum back here. It's so pretty. Wow. Oscar was like, dang it, why don't I take chicks here? See, I'm thinking about Travis and Crockett and Bowie and all the guys that perished here, and Oscar is thinking about chicks. So I love that the benches at the Alamo are shaped like the Alamo, right? Anybody? Nobody? Okay. There's the exhibit hall. Going to see Davy's rifle. Wow. Well, I guess we picked a good day to come. See, it's interesting because some of the Tejanos, the Mexican Texans, were simply fighting for the old Federalist way instead of the dictatorship. So when they were like, no, we're fighting for Texas independence now, a lot of them were like, so you had all these little nested groups with different motives. Look at these. Weapons from the period. Pennsylvania long rifle. Southern mountain rifle. Dude, look at those. I would not want that to go in your body, And they went so much slower than modern bullets, so they wouldn't go through. They just stick in you. Dude, check this out, Oscar. Here's a sword Santa Anna once owned. And here's a real Bowie knife. That was one of his actual knives. And the knife they think was at the famous sandbar fight that made him famous in the first place. Dude, look at that. It looks a lot more like a kitchen knife.
I know, it looks like my chef's knife.
Yeah, than a modern Bowie knife. Dang, look at that. That might be the one that poked a guy. Shall we We'll put it delicately, you know. I don't think there's a delicate way to get stabbed, but if there is, it's to get poked.
Yeah.
I think. Dude, look at that. The army uniforms. Okay, the guide is giving us lots of useful information, but I really want to find Davy Crockett's rifle. Wait a minute, this says touched by heroes. Here's one of Davy Crockett's knives. One of his bear hunting knives. And if you've ever read the autobiography, he talks a lot about hunting bear. And then right above it, that's Davy Crockett's rifle. Whoa. Holy cow, there's Sam Houston's sword. Wow. Davy Crockett's tin box and brush. The Crockett family is huge, and there are a lot of... Oh, William Travis's poetry book? That's crazy. There are a lot of Crocketts, and a lot of firstborn Crocketts are named David. I'm assuming mostly the boys, probably not the firstborn girls. So there are a lot of artifacts that have been held on to and preserved because, of course, they were proud of their famous congressman, pioneer, legendary ancestor. And look at that. That is supposedly some of Davy Crockett's hair. That is so weird. Oscar, do you want some of my hair in case I die?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Okay, I'll get that to you. That is crazy. One of Congressman David Crockett's rifles. And then over here, they have a rifle in the middle presented to Fess Parker. So you have the real Davy Crockett's gun, or David Crockett, and then you've got Fess Parker, Disney's Davy Crockett, who owns this this gun right here. So there's a little Disney history right here in the Alamo. How about that? Here's another sword owned by someone famous, Phil Collins, the musician. Dude, Phil Collins had like the largest private collection of Texas Revolutionary history and Alamo stuff apparently, and donated it all. And someday they're gonna build a museum just for Phil Collins's stuff. So things are getting weird in this museum. See, that's what we think of as a Bowie knife. That's what I would think it would look like. But of course, Bowie's actual knife looked like could chop onions as well as men. Well, that was awesome. But I gotta tell you, especially now that we're about to go into the Alamo Shrine in there, which we can't bring you along for. The Alamo's kind of heavy. We're trying to be lighthearted about it, although, you know, it's very heavy history, very solemn, the Shrine of Texas Liberty. So I'm looking forward to our next stop, which is still historical in nature, but a little more on the light side. Okay, I've got the car back, and I'm ready for a change of mood. The Alamo is serious, it's historic, it's very somber, and if there's any building in San Antonio that's the complete opposite, then this is the one. Look at this. No, I know what you're thinking. It's not your mother-in-law. This is a programmatic pig building. The last surviving programmatic pig building in the United States, apparently. Programmatic just means that the building is shaped like something, like the thing that it's used for. And in this case, this pig was once the symbol of Frank's hot dog stand, which I think was located right here in this area. It's believed that the pig was used as a shelter for the car hops, you know, the waitresses that would come out on roller skates or whatever and serve customers that would drive in for a nice wiener. I'm not sure that that's the original wiener building, but you can see there's some car hop outdoor sort of ordering, eating areas, much like a modern Sonic. Anyway, this building was here for years and years in San Antonio on the side of the road. But apparently for a long time, either in the late 80s or the early 1990s, the pig disappeared. Somebody called Suey and off it went until it was rediscovered, abandoned outside of town, pretty much in the middle of nowhere. And it turned out that somebody with no other housing option was actually living inside of this pig, using it as a little house. Dude, whoever it was, they were the first hipster, because they were living in a tiny house before it was cool. Look at that, dude. That's the biggest pig I ever seen. And yet somehow at the same time, It looks so small. I want to do my whole look at the size of this pig, but it's more like, aw, look at the size of this pig. Dude, look at his face, Oscar. He looks kind of smug. He thinks he's babe, pig in the city. Dude, I have wanted to see this pig for years and years. I think I found out about it from an old website called Texas Twisted. For years I wanted to see it. Remember, I kept bugging you about the pig. I'm like, Oscar, the pig, and you didn't believe me.
I didn't.
You never saw this before?
Never until today.
It's right on the side of the street. Don't you live in that house?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought you lived maybe in the house. So you've never seen the pig before in your life, for real?
Never seen it before in my life.
So it's not like a famous local thing where all the guys hang out and bring the ladies like, hey, you want to go to the pig?
I mean, I'm going to bring the ladies down.
Okay. Hey, whoa. That begs the question, Oscar. What's going to be the better date? Taking the ladies to the Alamo or to the pig?
I mean, you know the ladies love the bacon.
That building is definitely not kosher. Good thing there's no synagogues nearby. Fun pig! Oscar's getting a fun picture. You getting a picture, bro? A picture. I thought it was supposed to be sunny and warm in Texas. It is actually kind of warm compared to where I was, but it ain't sunny. It's a little drizzly. What happened, man? You told me there was going to be good weather.
There was, until you got here.
Oh, dude, I could be wrong, but this pig does not look like it would be expensive to construct in the modern era. And yet, for some reason, we no longer build buildings that look like things. Everybody's arguing these days over what's wrong with America, this or that. I'll tell you what's wrong with America. We're not building giant pigs anymore. This is one of, well, several reasons I would love to be really, really rich so that I could just go and build things like this and then donate them to like quirky artists or whatever. Honestly, considering that it was already hauled away once and abandoned and forgotten about and had a vagrant living inside of it maybe, I'm surprised this pig still exists. And judging by the look on his face, he's pretty surprised too. The Alamo's beautiful and it caused Texas liberty. So it will always take the #1 slot. But I think this one really brings home the bacon, man. I'm gonna give this the silver. Unfortunately, the pig is locked. They're not serving up any wieners or anything in the pig today. Actually, it doesn't look like there's much of anything inside at all. This is the type of thing I would love to own, you know, and then just hire someone to work in here and just sell t-shirts of the pig. Right. For no reason. Like, just stop at the pig, you know, it could be the next Buc-ee's. Piggies! You could put a bow on top and make it Miss Piggies. Yeah. What do you think, Oscar? Is it majestic?
It's the most majestic thing I've ever seen.
That's a Texas-sized hog right there. Could you lasso it?
Yeah.
I just gotta check behind because I found myself really wishing, nope, that there was a ladder around here somewhere because I was thinking I would love to climb on top of this and ride the pig. But sadly, there's no ladder and it's raining. So that means I've got to move on to my next roadside attraction, and it is a doozy. Sadly, for some reason, Oscar's not coming. It's only an hour away, but this is where he leaves me, at the giant pig. I'm glad I saw my friend Oscar, but it's time to head out alone again. And I'm also sad to leave behind this guy, but it's time to give him my parting words. That'll do, pig. That'll do. I'm actually genuinely a little sad to leave my friend Oscar. Last couple years, Oscar went through a very similar situation to me. Divorce, now his kid lives in California. He basically had to rebuild his life from the ground up, live in the quest for positivity. Now I think he's restarting his YouTube channel, Oscar's Odyssey. We went down to the Alamo. It was raining, but at least it weren't snow. Saw Davy Crockett's rig, and then a giant pig. Unfortunately, it was time to go. Well, it was getting a little foggy on the highway, so I decided to pull over here in Comfort, Texas. And a comfortable looking place it is, too. But I didn't pull over just to feel comfortable. I pulled over for this. Apparently, there used to be a place called the Apelt Armadillo Farm that made all kinds of armadillo products. And this general store here in Comfort has got some of them. What the heck?
Those silk linings were done by local ladies, and they were kind of expensive. Most of his business was selling them cheaply without a lining.
Wow.
Like real low-end tourist things.
I can't decide if they're amazing or disgusting or both?
Well, they're kind of prehistoric.
All right, that was weird and that was awesome. And out here on the highway outside of town is the site of the whole armadillo operation. This is crazy. I've stepped into a weird hole of armadillo basket history. Seems like these people got kind of tired of people stopping at the historical marker and staring at the house though, because they got the fence all here and everything. But I gotta tell you, it's pretty cool living on an old armadillo farm. It looked like the house was pretty well preserved, and I could even see that they had an old armadillo display room that seems pretty well upkept too. But it was all behind that fence, and I've got to push on towards home. These small towns are dangerous because often you'll meet really friendly people who want to talk for a really, really long time. And then as soon as they find out I like history, they send me down rabbit holes like that, which, or maybe they're armadillo holes, actually. All right, I've got one more stop to make, and then I am driving on into the night as late as I can go. But this stop is a doozy. If it were sunny and I had more time, it would certainly be its own video. But since I'm pressed for time and there's no way I'm gonna miss it, we're packing it all in today. We're going full Texas today, I guess. We got the Alamo down, we got a giant barbecue pig, armadillos, and the only way it could get even more Texas than that is to visit Stonehenge. Oh my gosh, it's Stonehenge. Well, actually, it's Stonehenge 2, Stonehenge, the sequel. Dude, look at this. In 1989, a guy named Doug Hill finished up work on his back patio and had one extra limestone slab left over. This limestone slab, I believe, and so he donated it to his friend and neighbor, Al Shepard, who placed it upright like so on a field in the middle of his property and decided he liked the look of it. It reminded him of what else? Stonehenge. The two neighbors thought it was a good gag and decided to add on to their little art project in the field little by little, and over 9 months they ended up with their very own Texas version of Stonehenge, Stonehenge 2. It's just about the only thing that isn't bigger in Texas. It's only 60% of the height, I think, and 90% of the width, but still, look at the size of that henge. Of course, Stonehenge number 2 attracted quite a lot of attention, even if it is a little smaller than the English original version. And soon, crazy wanderers, much like me, from all over the world were hunting down Al Shepard's property to check out the mysterious henge. Delighted with his new accidental tourist attraction, and because one dose of weird is never enough, he also added these. Not one, but 2 gigantic Moai replica Easter Island heads, apparently inspired by a trip he took to Easter Island. One of them is standing guard in front of Stonehenge 2 at the moment, and the other one is just over there at the entrance to the parking lot here. And I guess because he's a little closer to the buildings, this one has got a mask on. Dude, this thing is epic and it's huge. Would you look at the size of this guy? I've heard of people being big-headed, but this is ridiculous. Dude, this is unbelievable. Popping out of the Texas hill country and then suddenly stumbling across 2 stone mysteries of the ages. Even though we have a lot more information now about Stone Age Britain, Stonehenge still remains elusive, a mystery. And the same thing goes for the Moai of Easter Island. Still a little bit mysterious. We know more about them than we used to, but still awfully mysterious. And it's funny because those In Search Of shows and those weird History Channel shows, they all sort of lump those things together, right? Stonehenge, Easter Island. Ancient Aliens does that now too. And here you have Al Shepard and his buddy in the hill country of Texas, bringing the two together at last. This is unbelievable. And it's huge. It's gargantuan. I've never been to the original Stonehenge in England. And I was disappointed recently to find out that you're not allowed to actually walk up and touch the original Stonehenge, so that's kind of a bummer. But here in Texas, where they value freedom, of course, you are perfectly free to walk up and touch any part of Stonehenge 2 that you'd like. Well, except the top. You're not allowed to climb it. We got to have some laws. Dude, this is unbelievable. I've seen a lot of things today, okay? My mind is all over the place now. The mystery of Easter Island, the mystery of Stonehenge. But overall, the one thing really running through my mind is the Spinal Tap song. Stonehenge, where the demons dwell, where the banshees live, and they do live well. Stonehenge, where a man is a man, and the children dance to the pipes of Pan. Whew. This one goes to 11. Freaking Texas, dude. Full of historical things, inspiring things, and of course, plenty of weird things. What more could you ask for from a day's journey? Well, except a restroom. Sadly, Al Shepard, the hero of our story, didn't get to enjoy his Stonehenge for very long. He passed away in 1994, I believe. And of course, Stonehenge 2 isn't made out of stone. Can you hear that? It's made out of, like, you know, chicken wire and plaster and concrete and all kinds of weird stuff. And so, of course, it was at risk of sort of wasting away out there in the field and disappearing forever until in 2010, to keep Al's vision alive, his family donated Stonehenge 2 and the Moai to the Hill Country Arts Foundation, and they were moved here, right next to this baseball diamond over here, and this small restaurant and the rest of the Arts Foundation buildings, where, as long as you're willing to get off I-10 and drive south for just a little bit, you can still see them today. A self-guided tour, plenty of social distancing today. Nobody's around. And Stonehenge 2 lives on as its own sequel of itself here in its second location, where hopefully it will inspire future generations and mystify people down through the ages. All right, my friends, we came, we saw, we visited the Alamo, we henged, we pigged out with our friend Oscar. And now, I think it's safe to say, we've done our duty. Remember that Patreon keeps the show alive, and for our Patreon members, we have a podcast, a bunch of other stuff. Or perhaps you'd like a sweet hat or some of our rad t-shirts. Store.randomland.com. I have Instagram, all that stuff. There's a bunch of stuff down in the link. For now, though, it's time to hop back in the car. I've got 21 hours to go, and then I can finally go home and sleep well.
Downside of bleeding out patients, however, is a lot of men were bled to death. In fact, that's what one of the causes of George Washington's death is his doctors kept bleeding him out over and over, and they took out too much. He ended up dying that evening. So,
do you guys see that in your hospital?
I don't know. Probably enough people died there.
If I'm going to make you sweat.
Until at last, a more modern owner of this area. No, like I want to do the whole, look at the size of this pig. But instead I'm almost like, oh, look at the size of this pig. And plus there's wieners here. Hot dogs. Was I not supposed to say that? Well, plus I think when there's no COVID, I think there's food over here probably. So that's good. Sweet. Honestly though, when you consider that for a while it was dragged off to the middle of nowhere and abandoned and almost destroyed. I don't remember what I was saying. I don't remember what I was saying, man. I lost it. I lost my train. I was distracted by the pig. Look at Oscar's caught up in the majesty. It's almost as majestic as puppy butt. Remember? What does it mean?